The Hangover crew, the Hangover posse, jumping off with the live chat, Hangover, all whatever else. Tate Boy Fresh, we in the building on Fans First Sports Network, Steel Curtain Network, doing the Hangover, sitting in for Jeremiah and for Shannon. They out doing their thing. We know Shannon's doing his big anniversary.
Daniel J.
He got a lot going on, so they asked us to jump in and do the podcast for the Hangover. First time ever on a Manic Monday, and an eclipse just happened a little while ago where everything went dark outside. So you know it's a little strange for a lot of those people that's turning in to see Steel Curtain Network on a Manic Monday and the Hangover, man. But Tate, what's up with you, bro? What's happening with you?
Not too much, man. You know, this is different. I'm used to sitting down in my recliner, just kick back watching this most Mondays.
Yeah.
Waiting on my wife to get home about 6 p.m. Eastern and get ready to feed my dogs, what I would usually be doing about this time. But you know, it was what's up, Jeremiah Yoder? That's how you mix Jeremiah out there with Daniel.
Yep. But look at the live chat. Yep, absolutely.
But nah, man. So you know, it's all good, man. You know, when it's about the Steelers, we always got something to talk about, right?
Absolutely. It's one of those. But you know what though? It's T minus and whatever. Today's 4-8. Man, we got like so many days, a couple of weeks going. And so the Steelers is doing a lot of big things here over the next, 14 days to prepare themselves for this National Football League draft and to get that 53-man roster ready to rock and roll. But Tate, before we even get into any subject, any topic or anything, make sure all you guys like and subscribe, share with all your friends and all the podcast world for the show that's normally the Hangover. We're filling in a special guest today, but make sure you get it out there. Steel Curtain Network and anybody you know that loves the Steelers, man. So Tate, I got a couple of questions. We're going to, by the way, too, we're going to interact with the live chat today, with the live feed today a lot too. But I got some questions and you got a couple of questions. We're going to go back and forth and try to figure this thing out on a Manic Monday, Eclipse Monday.
Okay, shout out to JPZ72. What up, fam? Luke Cage. George Testing, where you at, man? You got the Eclipse and Hail, bro. That's a rough one right there.
Yeah.
Hey, James Smith, Jeremiah Yoder, what up, homie? Okay, go ahead, Big G.
Jared Devil's in there too.
Jar Devil, what's happening, man? Is it Jared Devil or you always say Jar Devil? I'm probably messing it up.
Killing it for sure, man. Yeah. Hey, so listen, man. Got a question. It's concerning the Steelers. And you know, this is always Steelers safe place. So on Mondays, we really get to be super safe because, normally we get out like this on Wednesdays with Shannon, but today we got an all Steelers audience and all Steelers crew. So, we're going to talk Steelers. And I got a question. Is there a current Steeler player that could be traded during or prior to the 2024 NFL draft that could build draft capital for the Steelers based on the depth that we know without a shadow of a doubt? This is one of the deepest drafts that has ever happened in I'll say at least 20 years. So could we trade? Is there any current Steeler that you would say, man, look, a guy give us a second, a guy give us a first, give us some things that we need to pull a guy out of this year's current draft class? Or let me ask it this way. Is there anybody who's untouchable? Is there anybody who's just like, we're not trading him? I don't care what you say. But is there a guy or two that you could see the Steelers get up off of before we move into this draft?
Well, that's a tough one, Big G. My untouchables on the Steelers roster would be TJ Watt, obviously.
Yeah, big facts.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Big facts.
George Pickens.
Big facts.
And newly acquired Patrick Queen.
Big facts. So you got 4.
4 untouchables.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as trying to trade away to recoup assets, that's going to be a little tougher, man, because I don't know what we think we're going to get. But, I did hear something, just speculation and rumor. It was an article written about it, but people, write and post those articles as clickbait. So, maybe this is nothing, but something about the Steelers could probably get a second-round pick for Russell Wilson to the Raiders.
Ooh. Wow. Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
that'd be cutthroat on my boy Russ. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But hey, football's a business, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a business, man. It's a business, man. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Big facts.
So I don't think that's potentially anything that would happen, but I've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Then some of the easier ones. We're talking about Keanu Neal, not
Yeah.
Keanu Neal, Liao,
Yeah.
DeMarvin Liao. We talking about potentially who? I mean, who? Dan Moore Jr., of course.
He's out of he's adios muchachos. If somebody
Yeah, well, yeah,
call,
that's what I'm
I
saying. But
I give up a 5th round and a bag of give me a 5th round and a bag of Skittles. He's out of here.
But you might not get a 5th round. I mean, the
Yeah.
thing is, he got 3 years starting experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe a 5th round, but that's the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just going through the lineup in my head, man. I really don't.
So I'm gonna give you some names, and you tell me, A, number one, are they tradable? And at B, number two, what we would have to get to if we traded them. Because, like, keep in mind, we're trying to build a 53-man roster. And I think right now the Steelers roster is starting to get settled. I think we got some offensive line issues, but because of the depth and the ability to get players in this draft, there's a couple of guys, this is some question marks. And I'm going to go in order. First guy, Najee Harris. Could you trade him? And what would you have to get if you traded Najee Harris? What would you have to get in order to bring him back and say, okay, I'm satisfied? Because everybody likes Warren as far as a running back. So could Najee be traded? Or is he untouchable? Big fine on a different pod. Big fine.
My bad, man. Look what the homie T. Riley had to say.
What he said?
But he said,
yeah.
I think Steelers could trade Najee.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Najee's not untouchable,
Mm-hmm.
but he's a critical component of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you trade him, you got to pick up his 5th-year option.
Yep.
So if you trade him before, a team got to be willing to pick that up.
Yep.
And because of that, I think you don't get anything more than a 3rd rounder.
Ooh.
That's the ceiling, Big-G. I was going to say 4th rounder.
Wow.
I mean, but Najee's such a critical component to what the Steelers' identity is, even before Arthur Smith coming in and they getting ready to go lean on the running game and play action and 12 personnel. He was critical before because from an offensive standpoint, he embodies the identity that the Steelers have always conducted offense with.
Don't disagree.
You know, that big bruising back. I mean, we go back to Franco Harris. You know, I can go back. I can go back to Walter Abercrombie and Merle Hodge. You know what I mean? Bam Morris, Barry Foster, Jerome Bettis.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's just the Steelers' identity, man. We play a grimy brand of football.
Right.
And Najee he personifies that, is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. He's not tradable for me, but there's a lot of chatter out there. All right, so I got another guy, Pat Freiermuth. Considering the fact that Arthur Smith runs 12 personnel, considering the fact that we need a 2 tight end set majority of the time, and you got Hayward, you got Mount Washington, you just picked up the longtime guy that played with the Atlanta Falcons and with the Tennessee Titans and Arthur Smith's system. Is Freiermuth a tradable piece?
I think Freiermuth could be a tradable asset. I do. I think Freiermuth is a great tight end, but I don't know if he's a great tight end in the system the Steelers are great transition to, right? He's a move tight end, right? He's a split out pass catching first tight end.
Okay.
I think, and the Steelers have allowed, because of quarterback play and Matt Canada and terrible offense, have allowed Freiermuth's stock to come down.
Yeah.
You know, his stock is not as high as what it was coming out of Penn State.
Yeah.
So they probably could get a 3rd round for Freiermuth or team that needs a tight end, a team that's ready now but needs a tight end. I like that, and I like because I also like a tight end in the draft. I like to see more from Darnell Washington, who's both an inline tight end and a big target over the middle. But I also like the tight end. I think you probably get in the fourth or fifth round. Theo Johnson, another Penn State kid.
Yeah,
like 6'7", 265, big boy. Got kind of moves well for that size.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't say what Omar Khan to do. So I'm not trying to predict any trades, but I could see Freiermuth being available for a trade.
Okay. I got two more guys, and I'm gonna go quick. The first guy is Alonzo Highsmith. Because of the emergence of Nick Herbert. I mean, you know, I mess his name
Alex
up.
Highsmith.
Alex Highsmith. Alonzo. I always say Alonzo because I think of the Miami Hurricanes. But Alex Highsmith, the outside linebacker.
You must be old. Alonzo Highsmith played like in the mid-'80s at Miami Hurricanes.
He was one of my best favorite players ever for the Miami Hurricanes. And I don't even like the Hurricanes, but I liked him. But Alex Highsmith, definitely. Linebacker out of Charlotte. Because of the emergence of Herbig, could you see Highsmith getting moved? And if so, what would you get for a draft pick?
I think for Highsmith, you definitely get a second, a high quality second, and that's because he's had production. He's under contract. You know what I mean? And he's a hard worker. I like Highsmith, but if they could him and TJ is one of the best tandems in the league.
I know
but if you could say trade Highsmith and bring Bud Dupree back on the cheap and get a second round draft pick, you winning. And still have Herbig on a rookie deal as the backup.
Yeah.
I don't think you're losing anything.
Yeah. So I think out of the three guys so far, he's the one guy maybe that I would trade out of the three guys so far. But on the flip side, if you say, okay, we can get draft capital for Herbig based on his potential, would you trade Herbig? Because you can't tell me teams won't inquire about him as far as his play, because he showed that he's got some versatility in him and he's able to rush the quarterback and get to the quarterback. So Herbig, would that be a guy you dangle out there as a piece to being able to get draft capital? Because like we're saying as many picks as the Steelers can get in the first 100 is what they need to do. So my last guy, Herbig, would you trade him?
Nah, man, I wouldn't trade Herbig. And because he was a 4th round pick last year, and even though he played well, it's a small sample size, right?
Yeah.
I also think when constructing a roster, you have to have those really, really good players that are really, really cheap. You know what I mean? And that's what Herbig is right now. He's a really, really good player that's really, really cheap. So you trade him, and then you back in the same position. You need a third edge. That's probably going to cost more. I mean, if you brought back Marcus Golden, if you brought in Bud Dupree, they all going to cost more than what Herbig is making. So I think the financial piece of it, the mathematics of it, you don't trade Herbig, you keep it.
Yeah. I heard a lot of people talk that mess about the free up draft capital too. But Jarrell Williams, absolutely. I've heard that because I've heard people say that Cam Hayward and all whatever else, Hayward's going to retire a Steeler. You can forget it. He's not going anywhere. So there's not too many guys.
But even past that, what are you going to get from Cam Hayward in the last year of his deal and he's making $22 million a year? Yeah, you can want to get off of him, but to get off of him, you got to have somebody that want to take him.
Absolutely. And there's not too many teams out there that's going to want to take him. So I was saying that there's pieces that are just untouchable. And I agree with you in totality. Minka, TJ, there's certain guys that you just can't touch any of those guys. Russ to the Raiders. Hey, I wouldn't be mad at it. If we could trade him to the Raiders and get a 2nd round pick for him, I wouldn't be mad at all. And it makes all the sense in the world if you think and feel that Justin can solidify at that quarterback 1, and then you use the draft capital to get another quarterback in the draft. I'm not mad at that. And there's still a couple of veterans out there that we could sign to put on the roster as well to help fill those quarterback positions. But I like Rusty in Pittsburgh though too. So I'm saying that there's a lot of guys, man, that I don't think the Steelers would trade, but I don't know if Omar Khan is 100% sold that he won't give up a guy in order to bring more draft capital in. Your thoughts with that, Tate, bro?
Man, as I alluded to and said a couple minutes ago, man, I can't tell you what the con man is thinking.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of that, depending on the players. I told you who the Untouchables were. I mean, and then when we kind of broke down the ones you put up there, you know, what I mean, like they could want to get off Larry Ogunjobi, but somebody got to want him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who else is back there in that secondary? You think KZ gonna still be here?
I think he's gonna play. I think he's gonna play for the Steelers. Tate got a big double fine on the first Monday podcast for sure. But I don't think the Steelers make any moves with the defensive backfield moving forward outside of just adding players because of what's going on with them trying to rebuild the defensive backfield. So outside of, you know, what they currently have, and there's a couple of young guys on the roster that I definitely feel that have some things to prove, either the kid out of Purdue and Rush. So I don't think the Steelers move off of the defensive backfield because I think that's one of the best things that the Steelers have going on is the young assets that they have, and we got to show and prove that these kids can play. That's just my opinion. So I don't think the Steelers move off of anybody in the defensive backfield. That's just my thoughts, Tate.
So Justin Simmons is still out there. He hasn't found a home yet, and we about a month into free agency. More than a month. With the month the 13th. Almost a month. So if he didn't find home, if he don't find home before the draft, then after the draft, he's gettable.
Yeah.
So if you could bring Justin Fields in, you wouldn't let KZ go?
If I could bring Justin Simmons in, would I let KZ
Justin
go?
Simmons, I'm sorry, yes.
I would, but Justin Simmons right now, his price tag is really high.
I said if he makes it, he's no home yet. If he makes it without a home after the draft, he could come real cheap.
Yeah, I would do it. But I think the Steelers are going to look at safety in the draft. That's just one of the positions that people don't think that they are going to look at, but I think they are going to take a hard look at safety. That's just my opinion. All right, so Tate, look, we got to take a quick commercial break. We got to pay some bills. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we'll be right back on the Steel Curtain Network Hangover podcast that we're filling in for the fellas that's off doing what they do. Give us a quick second, a quick pause, and we'll be right back on Fans First Sports Network, Steel Curtain Network, The Hangover. And we're back after we took a quick commercial break on Steel Curtain Network, The Hangover podcast, Monday, Manic Monday, Eclipse Monday, filling in for the couple of guys that you normally hear. And we've seen a lot of folks over in the live chat said, hey, man, who are these guys that's on here? Hey, we get out on Wednesdays and Fridays, but we filling in on Mondays because we being big-time team players on Steel Curtain Network. Ain't that right, Tate-Boy Fresh?
Yeah, man. What you keep bringing up this Eclipse Monday, man. So how was it where you was at in the great state of Ohio, the heart of it all? How was it over that way?
Jet black and dark. And all the animals got real quiet real fast. You know.
My mom and aunt sent some pictures, man. I don't know. I just wasn't really juiced up, gassed up about the eclipse. You know, I told you earlier, my neighbor called me. He said, hey, man, my dude buried my neighbor for 16 years. He said, hey, man, I got some extra glasses. You want to come out here and look at the eclipse with me? With us? I think his family might have been out there. I said, pass.
I mean, I get it, man. I get it.
I have zero interest in the eclipse.
Yeah, it seemed like my whole neighborhood was out looking around, trying to see what was going on and all whatever else. But like I said, all the birds stopped chirping real fast. The street lights came on. It got jet black. it looked like it was well at night. So, you know, it was a little different for about a three minutes some change period, man. So
that ring I just got, that phone call,
mm-hmm.
and I usually have my phone on silent doing podcasts, but I'm not used to doing this time. But anyway, that's no excuse. But that was my wife call. I called her early and left a message. She called me back because she's leaving work. I told her, I was joking. I told her the dogs is outside. They just stare up at the sky and they won't come in. I said, I think they're hypnotized by the eclipse.
She probably panicked, like, wait a minute, no. no.
That's what she called. I mean, if I answer and I push mute, if you had heard it, she's like, you better quit playing with me about my dogs.
Hey, so listen, I was in, so I see some people in the live chat saying what the percentage that they saw. I was in 100% of the view. Like, we got a total eclipse in 100%. I live right across that little Ohio stretch, man, when we got 100%. So it got really dark really fast. But like I said, it only lasts for about 3.5, 4 minutes, and that was it. So a little different thing.
I heard the whole moon blocked the sun, where it was a ring around the moon.
Absolutely. That's exactly how it looked outside. Exactly. So you can see solar flares and all the other stuff. So like I said, it was a little different thing on a Manic Monday. So this is a Manic Eclipse Monday, Steel Curtain Network show, filling in for the fellas normally on the Hangover, man. All right, Tate, I got another question, bro. We're going to talk about dream scenarios because, you know, it's all a dream anyway. We don't know what Omar Khan's doing. Yeah.
Hold on. I know where you're going with this, right? Because this is the title of the show, right? We talking about like Christmas. What the Steelers what you gonna wake up with the Thursday after the drive and have for Christmas for the Steelers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to! I just want to get everybody in the mood. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it is for a lot of us Steeler fans, man. I mean, this is the closest thing you can get to Christmas or the anticipation of Christmas, like how we normally have, because it's draft. I mean, it's T-minus, right? It's T-minus like 14 days, 16 days. We're ready to move this thing, man. And so what my question is this: in a dream scenario, right, on April 28th, which is after the draft, day one after the draft, what would be the dream scenario based on what would happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2024 NFL draft? You can give me players. You can give me who would be where, how it would work out. What is your dream scenario for the Steelers for the 2024 NFL draft season? Don't get fined, Tate. Don't get fined.
Well, man, I get fined more than anybody.
Yeah.
So how you doing this, man? Right. So are we just talking because on that first day it's only one pick?
Right, but I'm talking about the 28th after all the picks are done. So we go through the 25th, we go through 25th, 26th, 27th. On the 28th, and you wake up on the 28th morning, and like in your perfect world, and anything can happen. You can trade, you can do whatever you want to do. In a dream case scenario, what would the Steelers walk out of this NFL draft with? What would they walk out with?
We have our center. We trade back in the first. I think even now you can trade back in the first and still get Jackson Powers, Johnson, or is it Barton from Duke?
Yeah.
His testing was incredible.
Yeah.
I think you can trade back in the first from 20, say to 25, 26s, get you another third and get that, right?
Okay.
Take your third. I mean, no. We got our center. We're taking one of them in like 25, 26, and you get an extra third.
Okay.
And so then, ideally for me, I mean, if you hold Pat at 51, unless it's a player you really want, but it's like you said, so much inventory in this draft that, you know, you can get a good player if you wait to 51, especially since you got your center, right?
Okay.
I see the tackle in the first round if that's what you want to do, but I'm saying you need one of those top two centers. I like Zach Frazier too, but that would, you'd have to fall back and pick him early, like you're picking. You maybe fall back two times, right? Because you pick him at mid-30s, you gotta pick Powers and Barton in the mid
Late
20s.
20s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that 51, man, I'm going receiver.
Okay.
I'm taking Xavier Legette.
You think he'll be there at 51? That's your dream scenario. He'll be there.
I'm dreaming, right?
Yeah.
If
It's your
if
dream.
not him first, Corley second.
Okay. Malachi
As
Corley. Okay.
far as receivers go in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Then we looking at pick 84.
Mm-hmm. But remember,
Now
you got that extra pick, though. You got that extra pick.
I got 84, 98, and one there in the middle.
Okay.
Another third round.
Yep.
So maybe I take 84 and 98 and try and move back up in the end of the second.
Okay.
And if I do that, I'm taking Jenkins from Michigan.
Oh, okay. So you got Jenkins, Barton. So you want to say Zach Frazier, Jenkins, Xavier
No.
Gillette.
I ain't take Zach Frazier because
Okay.
I see the Johnson or Barton.
Okay. So you got we'll say Powers Johnson, Jenkins, Xavier Legette. Okay.
And then I got one more fourth round pick left.
Mm-hmm.
No, one more third round pick.
Yep.
Yeah, one more third round pick. And with that one, I'm gonna take the boy from the tackle from Notre Dame, Blake Thomas.
Yep.
I mean, he's played on the right side opposite Joe Alt for about 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He probably can beat Dan Moore out and allow Broderick Jones to go on over the left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Then do we have 1/4, right? Because we traded one for Kenny to go with Kenny Pickett.
Correct. And 2-6.
With that fourth, man, I'm liking the guy from Oregon, Kyrie Jackson.
Yeah.
Is it Jackson?
Yeah, that's him.
The 6'4" corner.
Yeah.
Man, I just like long, rangy football players, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why initially, before Patrick Quinn, I liked your boy from NC State in the middle.
Peyton Wilson.
I liked him a lot because he's 6'4" and fast and all that, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I like Kyrie Jackson. 6th round, I really haven't done that much research down to the 6th round.
What about my dude from Ferris State?
Oh, he's in for a visit day, Sean Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
Peasy cousin. If he's there in the 6th, I'll take a 6 on him. And just because, I'll take a 6 on Joe Milton too, and let Russ go to the Raiders like it's been talked about.
Okay, so Tate, that's not so far dream. I mean, I think that could realistically happen. I could see the Steelers trading back, picking up capital, and drafting guys in between. I could definitely see all that.
Well, Big G, I usually do try and keep it realistic, man. I know people like you and your boy Pay, y'all go way out. But you know,
hey,
I try.
Hey,
man. Y'all be sending them draft trades draft mock drafts with all them trades. And I'm like, man, come on, man. Well, this ain't happening.
I mean, I understand that. I've been trying to be realistic as I possibly could for the Steelers because I got a mock draft where I got Roma Duze coming to Pittsburgh. So
I just was about to say to you,
yeah.
I've heard from other places that the Steelers are real interested in Roma Duze, and if he's between that 9 and 12 range, it could be some interest.
I've been saying it all along. I told you I got a little birdie in my ear, talking, telling me this, that, and this. And that the comp for Roma Duze is Hines Ward 2.0. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are in love with Roma Duze. But to have to trade up that high, because he's not coming out of the top 10. So you'd have to give up massive capital. And I think that would hurt Pittsburgh ultimately because we still got a couple of positions of need that we have to have, even if we were able to get free agents after the draft is concerned. But in a dream scenario, realistic dream scenario, Christmas, like if I had it all worked out, I think in round 1, if it's possible, and I think we might have to trade up a couple of spots, but I want the offensive tackle out of Oregon State University. I think that kid is a day 1 starter at right tackle, right? I think, and like the draft capital to move up a couple could be a futures, right? I would like in the 2nd round, give me Peyton Wilson, inside linebacker, North Carolina State. Because I think you put him next to Patrick Queen and you could run some similar sets that we've seen the Baltimore Ravens run because they run basically the same 3-4 defense. In the third round, give me BB or Von Pron. The third round. Give me BB or Von Pron.
So you spend a second round pick on a linebacker?
Got to have him, man. Got to have him. Unless you feel or think, I think he's that special. He's one of those guys that it's the injuries that got people worried. But we would have injury news coming out of the combine thinking that he was messed up. He's fine. He played the last 2 years at NC State with no injuries. So he's fine. But I think if you're going to run an exotic defense, think about how good the Steelers defense was, when we have 4 dog linebackers, let alone safeties. But we got 4 dogs. Come on, man. We hunting. And those guys are interchangeable and do all whatever else. He's not a bust to me. Not wrong. I mean, not a fake.
But aren't you? I'm just asking the question. Kind of like a thought exercise. Don't you get better value by using that pick somewhere else? And you think he's still going in the second? And my like is either Colson from Michigan or Trotter from Clemson in the third round. I feel you with another young, fast linebacker. But I'm just saying a second round pick when your first round you got your center, right? No, you got your third round.
No, I got my tackle in the first round.
Oh yeah, Talisi Fuaga.
Yeah, from Oregon State. Yeah.
And in the second round, you're saying
Wilson.
Peyton Wilson. Okay.
Yeah, Peyton Wilson. And the third round, that's where I get my center. I don't know if it's going to be BB or Van Pron. I'll take either one of those guys, but I think one of them will be there in the third. BB or Van Pron. Either one works. I like Von Pron just because he was in a big-time program at Georgia. And if you go back and actually watch the All-22 tape and All-22 film, oh, man, he gets it in, bro. He gets it in. He mauls people. So I like him being able to get him in the third. Now, with my fourth, this is where it gets interesting. Because I think with 1 4th-round pick, I think we could get Brandon Rice, Jerry Rice's son, wide receiver, USC Trojans, to come in and play one of those receiver positions. And then I think we could get maybe a corner and King, the defensive back from Penn State University, to go opposite Peasy Jr., or maybe play the nickel corner or nickel position. My 2-6 will be wild cards. So that's why I'm digging on Sean Stevens. But then I also like in the 6, Al Blaze Jr. Al Blaze Jr. out of Duke University is a Pittsburgh Steeler. If you go back and look at Tate, and he's got the pedigree. Because Tate, I love pedigree guys. So when we start talking about guys whose dads played in the league, they understand what they need to do to step up and play right away. I love that. So in my dream scenario, that's what I would have.
No, I like that. I mean, I'm just only one I question is the linebacker in the second round, not the third. I mean, you got your center in the third, so you could have got your receiver in the second. But you said you come back in the fourth and you're getting Brendan Rice.
Oh yeah, Jerry Rice.
I like that too. But we need a number 2. Is he a number 2 or he like a solid number 3, ain't he?
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends. His ceiling could be a number 2 receiver. But right now, based on what he was doing in USC, he's probably a number 3. But his ceiling is a number 2. But with NFL pedigree in your blood, bro, you're going to show up. You're going to show because you understand what the grind is. And I think Brandon has shown that. I mean, he was coming out of college into USC. He was Jerry Rice's son, but he earned his own name. So he's definitely now an NFL caliber WR.
He was at Stanford first, right?
Yeah, and no, he was always a Trojan boy. I think it was the other kid that was played at Stanford. I think you're pretty sure, Tate. He was always a Trojan boy.
Go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, but those are just the guys that I like. I think that Pittsburgh gives themselves a position. Now, the fantasy is, okay, we trade up to get a guy like Rome.
Colorado,
yeah, and then he transferred. Yeah. But the fantasy is to trade up and get a guy like Rome. But if we get Rome, I give up futures. I'd give nothing out of this draft. I'll give up futures to get a guy like Rome because you know you're going to pair Pickens and Rome for 5 years.
You gotta give up pick number 20.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give
this
up this
year.
year's one. This year's one, and I'll give up futures.
Okay.
I'm not giving up next year. I'm not giving up nothing this year.
I don't know who's gonna do that, but okay. That's the part about trying to trade up. You give up draft capital, and you lessen your potential of what you're gonna bring in to camp this summer. You know what I mean? Instead of having 7 players coming in, now you're gonna have 5 players coming in.
Right. But the question is, Tate, does Rome fit 2 guys? Is Rome worth 2 guys? That's the question. What it comes down to is he worth 2 players?
Well, I think any top 10 pick is worth 2 players. To me. I mean, you mentioned pedigree a minute ago. That's what the draft's all about. To me, it's pedigree. That's why I'm a high risk guy, man. You grew up with me. You know I'm a gambler, right? And not so much on like FanDuel and DraftKings and all that. I go to the crap table. I used to be on the corner shooting dice.
He gets it in. He gets it in for sure.
Yeah. But that's why I side with taking some of these players. That's why I don't mind the Peyton Wilson pick. But I'm not caring about his injury. He done played 3 straight years with no injury, right? Same thing. I feel the same way about Michael Penix. Sometimes you just gotta gamble on the upside. I mean, what are we doing? We're gonna take a B guy when you could draft a A- guy that had an injury 3 years ago. I'm definitely going with the A- guy that's been 3 years injury free, even though he had injuries prior to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do believe, and like you said, and we're going to keep referencing and keep putting the point out that nobody really knows what Connor's doing. But if I was a gambling person, I would say for sure that he's going to go towards upside for this draft versus downside. So, and based on the guys, because
that's why they pick Mims if he's there, because his ceiling is so high. I mean, I like Fuaga too. If they both there, the Steelers have a problem. Fuaga's plug and play right now, and is a mauler and allows you to move Broderick Jones back to the left side. But we talking about Mims has the pedigree and talent to be Trent Williams for the 49ers.
Oh, that's saying a lot, Tate.
Hey, the size, the skill, the athleticism. I mean, that's what's there. I ain't saying he's that. I'm saying, but if you're swinging for the fences, I think that's what the Steelers like to do, man.
Yeah, but okay, so let me preface it this way, and I'm just going to swing the question back. How much gap is between Mims and Fuaga, in your opinion?
Right now, Fuaga is the better player right now because his floor is higher. So the gap is probably substantial because Fuaga's played a good 3 years, right? And he even has a relationship with our guard, CC Amalu. Michigan State connections. Oregon State connections.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he has that relationship. So he's an older kid, a mature kid. But Mims is like Broderick Jones was last year. Come in, sit the first 6-7 games, go and practice against TJ and Highsmith and Cam and those guys.
Yeah.
And then, he might be ready. He might have you one special. You would definitely have a top tackle tandem bookends in the league.
Facts. Tate, we're going to take another quick commercial break. All those people that are listening to us and watching us live on YouTube, on the Hangover special, on the Eclipse Monday, we'll be back after we get a word from our partners and pay some bills. We're rocking with us live on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Give us a second. We'll be right back on the Hangover podcast on Eclipse Monday on Fans First Sport Network, Steel Curtain Network. And we're back with the Hangover podcast, filling in on Eclipse Monday, Steel Curtain Network, Fans First Sports Network. talking draft. Got a lot of good comments over there, man. And we appreciate all of y'all rocking with us a live chat for sure. People saying hit the like button. Folks are talking about they ain't seen the algorithm sign all show, Tate. So I got to give them, even though it ain't ours, I got to give them the algorithms one time, man. Get the algorithms up for
we still want the algorithms up for SCN, wherever we at.
That's big facts, man. We're going to make sure that the fellas can enjoy their time off and we taking care of it on a Monday. All right, so Tate, listen. The Steelers brought some guys in today, man. Some guys that, in our private conversations behind the scenes, we've been saying all along that the Steelers been running smoke screens about certain guys that we knew that they were going to eventually bring in. They brought in Adnan Mitchell, wide receiver out of the University of Texas, man. I done heard a lot of smoke and seen a lot of mock drafts about Adnan Mitchell being added to the Steelers and putting him with Pickens, man.
I like him. You remember we did a mock draft a few weeks back, me, you, and Shannon. I had him as my first pick at the time.
Yeah.
But now I think you could probably trade back, just like with the center, and get him at like 25, 26 also.
Yeah. So do you really, because like I said, we're in that critical time because we know this is where they really start honing in because they done brought guys in. Of course, I'm not saying that any guys they brought in prior to they're not going to go after. But we know this is like that second layer time period where they start bringing guys in and they really go in depth with the interviewing and all whatever else. So do you see Adnan as a potential first-round pick for the Steelers? Realistically, you think they'll go WR in round one with the need at tackle and the need at center?
Well, you're talking about trading up for Odunze potentially.
Mm-hmm.
I like Odunze a lot. I wanted him early, but he played himself all the way into the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So the Steelers never had a chance at the top 10 player.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like A.D. Mitchell in the first round, better than trading up for Odunze.
Yeah.
You know, because I can trade back and get a little something for 20 and go back to 25 and still get Mitchell, I think.
Yeah.
And I think him and Pickens will be an awesome combo.
Man.
You got that length and speed on the outsides, the X and Y in the slot. You probably gonna have Calvin Mitchell, man. Or Quez Watkins. I think Van Jefferson
in the slot. Okay, yeah.
I think Van Jefferson will give everybody a blow because he's XY capable and slot capable.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll get clocked, but I don't see him being the top 3.
Okay.
But I do like Mitchell potentially in the first.
Yeah.
Like if all the corners are going, the only position I'm going in the first is corner, tackle, center, or receiver. But I feel like I can get a center in the second round.
Okay.
If all the good corners I want could be gone. So if I'm there, and it's between the 4th or 5th tackle and A.D. Mitchell, I could see trading back and taking A.D. Mitchell.
Oh, okay. They brought in Troy. I always mess his last name. Fatuana.
Tackle from Washington.
They brought him in today. Tate, there's a lot of smoke out there that this kid could be a first-round NFL draft pick.
Oh, I think he is first round. It's about where he goes. He could go before the Steelers pick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him better than Fuaga for Oregon State, but this kid Fatuana was the cleanest in the combine.
Big clean.
Was big clean.
Yeah, big clean. Yeah, big clean.
All his drills and stuff, he was on top of everything, man. He showed great balance, great lateral movement. Everything. But they say in the league he can get moved to guard.
Yeah.
But if you get a piece that can play tackle and guard, we know the Steelers like positional versatility. I don't think that you can go wrong with that. Is he a better tackle right now than Dan Moore? Is all that matters.
Yeah. What he had Tate, why I say big clean too was this. He had the best feet I don't care what nobody say. I watched all the guys throughout the whole combine. I went back and started looking at tape, and at tackle, he has the best feet. His feet are unbelievable, man. He could drop weight and play a tight end. I mean, he's really that good athletically. So I like his feet, man. I like his feet.
That goes to what I said, that he was the cleanest. That's what I meant. I said his lateral movement. I mean, everything you're saying, yeah, that's what I saw also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, and then they brought in the guy that I've been trying to hold back on, man, for a minute, because we've been talking about it. And I put y'all up on game a couple of weeks ago about my boy out of Ferris State, Sean Stevens, man. They brought in Sean, man, and I think the Steelers were trying to wait. What Jeremiah say? Hearing me? Yeah, I butcher it, bro.
You remember the fullback Chris? Go, you try it.
Chris Full Matafala or something like that.
Hey, you close, man. You close enough.
Yeah.
Give you a hand, Big-G.
All I know is he was a big boy out of Utah that was a bruiser. That's all I know. And he could play that fullback. But yeah, I butcher names. That's what we do, bro. So, but listen, they brought in Sean Stevens, man. And I've been trying to hold back from talking about him because I know the ops be listening, bro. They're going to get a dude that I know that was born to be a Steeler, right? But they brought him in today, so they put an alert across the league. Sean Stevens, what you think, Tate? What you think? I mean, he's a smaller school kid, Ferris State University. He's Joey Porter Jr.'s cousin. For all y'all that don't know, the Steeler fans. So here we go with the pedigree thing again. So what you think about Sean Stevens, bro?
I like him, man.
Mm-hmm.
I like him a lot, especially if you can get him in the 6th round, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at some of his measurables.
He's not 6 foot tall. He's not 6 foot tall. He's definitely not 6 foot tall.
He's not taller than 6 foot?
He's not 6. I think he measured in, I want to say at like 5'11" and some change. I think that's what some folks were saying. He's 5'9". I was like, that's no freaking way.
I got right here 6 foot 180, but I don't know.
I think he's like 5'11", it's almost 6 foot. He's like 5'11" and some change.
But I could potentially see give him a shot. I mean, but then you got a whole bunch of, if you don't draft corner early, and so you get him in the 6th round, right? Sean Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
I like his pedigree, like you said. He's a bump and run corner. He's aggressive. Mm-hmm. He plays that brand of football, which the Steelers want. But then you looking at you starting to count on Darius Rush and count on Corey Trice to come back, and contribute along with this kid if you draft him.
Yeah.
I think you might have to spend a little bit earlier capital on somebody like your boy Max Melton out of Rutgers in the 3rd.
Oh, I like him too.
I like your boy from Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah. Sarah Steele?
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah. Sarah Steele. Listen, any Michigan guy.
Because if you get an outside corner, you getting them in the 1st round.
Mm-hmm.
Now you still get a good corner, but it's going to probably be a nickel corner. Mm-hmm. And if you want a project on the outside, it's going to be somebody like I said earlier, like Kyrie Jackson from Oregon, 6'4", long, 210-pound, nice size corner. Reminds me of the kid Tariq Wooten from Seattle. They drafted 2 years ago. That made all rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing with Jackson is he's 4'5", but he's long enough for that press man to man, press him at the line of scrimmage, and then once you jam him up, then you should be able to run with him because you gave the pass rush an opportunity to kind of get to the quarterback. Correct.
And really, Tay, you're hitting out of the park as far as that comment, because in today's NFL, you need 1001, 1002, 1003. 1003, Highsmith and TJ Watt are slapping hands at the quarterback. It's water boy moment, slap hands, because they tearing somebody's behind up. So I think that you got to look at realistically getting a cornerback. And that brings me to my last question, man. One of my last questions. Mitchell, Toledo, the anomaly. Okay. Tay, you've been bringing this out. You've been saying this for about a week or so now on the other podcast that we're on Steel Curtain Network. Do you pair up the tackles or do you pair up the corners? Because Mitchell and JPJ changes everything for the Steelers. Quinyon Mitchell and Joey Porter Jr. at them corners changes everything. Or do you say, okay, we're going to ride with the tackles? So which way do you go?
If my dogs bark, I apologize. This time of day I'm not used to, and they hear stuff. I close the door. But anyway, they may not bark. I'm going myself, my preference, I'm going with the corners.
Oh.
You know, I like the tackles, but I can live with Dan Moore for one more year. I know a lot of people can't, but we talking about making that defense top 3, not even top 5, top 3.
Yeah.
With Porter and Mitchell on the outside, you move Dante Jackson to the slot.
Oh my goodness.
Minka, Deshaun, the corner we just got. I mean, the safety we just got.
From the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First name Deshaun. Him, and then what you got up front with Patrick Queen and TJ and Alex Highsmith and Cam and Benton. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a good tackle right now. Yeah, we better run the ball. Have a little more protection, but your ceiling is higher about getting that elite defensive piece than getting a really good offensive piece at tackle.
Yeah. Tate, I don't disagree with that. And this is the reason I brought that up is because I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they like Cooper DeJean, saying they like Wiggins out of Clemson. I think that there's a drop-off from Mitchell. I think when you start talking about those top corners, we're talking Arnold, Mitchell, start cutting the deck. Kool-Aid, maybe. Kool-Aid will fall because of injuries. But I'm saying a guy who's a lockdown corner. Cooper DeJean is a great athlete. Wiggins is super fast, but he wasn't out there killing them in the ACC. And Cooper DeJean, I mean, he played on a good defense in Iowa, but I don't know about the NFL. I think Cooper's going to play more of a safety than a corner.
He could, but that's that versatility though. He's a piece. Didn't he have his pro day today? His workout?
Who?
Cooper DeJean.
I think it's something like that. He had a private workout with
I thought he was supposed to. Yeah, I thought he was supposed to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything. I haven't been plugged in with all this Eclipse talk. Yeah. But I like Kool-Aid. I think Kool-Aid is that guy, but we disrespect him because he's injured.
Yeah.
But he's one, if you wanted him, you could fall back and get him too. In like 26, 27.
Tate, he ran a 4.47 on an injured foot.
On an injured foot.
Yeah. So
if you look at his tape, I mean, he's good at man-to-man, and he's a dog. He's like PZ Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, to have two dogs on the outside and that speed potentially with Dante Jackson in the slot.
Yeah.
Hey man, like I said, the ceiling go higher if you get an elite defensive player over getting a great offensive player.
Yeah. And Tate, and I think I'm leaning more towards that as this goes on. I'm leaning more towards the defensive back because, and I'm gonna say this, and like you said, a lot of folks don't want that Dan Moore deal. Look at the tape when Mason Rudolph was in at quarterback with Dan Moore, and then go look at the running attack for the Pittsburgh Steelers when Mason Rudolph was playing quarterback versus when Mitch Trubisky was playing quarterback and versus when Kenny Pickett was playing quarterback. Dan Moore looks completely different.
Well, that's why I say, Big G, I can live with Dan Moore for one more year. He's a 3-year starter. Is it going to hurt you if you make him a 4-year starter? I'm not saying he's the greatest. He'll play better with adequate quarterback play, with better quarterback play, because Russell Wilson can move. He's an experienced veteran. Justin Fields can get out of trouble if he's playing. You know what I mean? So I can go corner right now, have that sold up, get a good receiver, have that sold up, top 2, get my center, and come back next year and get my tackle to replace Dan Moore.
Okay, I'm with it. I don't. Like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see which way the Steelers go with this draft. And I'm just super excited, man. I can't wait because we're right here. I mean, we're literally at the cusp of it. So Tate, man, final thoughts as you know, we at the 55-minute run.
Read Ezra Dresden's comment real quick.
He said the secondary has to be able to compete with Kansas City. If not, what are we doing? Well, I'm going to be interested to see what the Kansas City Chiefs look like, especially with the wide receiver problems that they have based on what just happened with Rashidi Rice. Because Rashidi Rice is in a little bit of trouble. Not a little bit, like a lot of trouble. So, what do you think he's looking at? I know he got in trouble for, what did he do?
He
wrecked a Lamborghini on the freeway and walked away from him and his boys, but they found weed in the car. They found weed in one of the cars that wrecked. So they were supposed to have been racing. They were in Lamborghinis on the freeway. They wrecked them and walked away and found weed in it. So, that kid could be looking at a suspension. How long or who knows? I don't know.
I think they still okay with Patty Mahomes, though.
Always, because Pat makes all the guys that they got look the way that they look. It's him. It's not the receivers.
Right.
So, but I think against the goal for the Steelers is always win the division first. So I like what you're saying at the corners, because then now, okay, that takes out Cincinnati. That takes out Cleveland. Baltimore, they ain't got no receivers, no way. So we're going to do what we need to do. Outside of Zay Flowers, that's it. They ain't got nobody else. So
yeah, a lot of teams fell off receiver-wise. I mean, Miami may pick up Odell, but Josh Allen lost his number one, right? Well, which means C.J. Stroud picked up something, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, but you said Cincinnati, Cleveland trying to do something in the receiver room.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I just think an elite defensive player, again, makes the ceiling higher on defense than just getting a great player on offense. That's all you're going to get is a great offensive tackle. Yeah. If you get a dog like Mitchell, or Kool-Aid, come on, man. Go ahead and do what you do, Big G. I guess you're wrapping it up, right?
Yeah, for big facts, man. I don't disagree. All right, man. So we done reached that time of the podcast, the Hangover podcast on the Eclipse Monday. Take your final thoughts, man, before we get out of here on the podcast, bro.
Hey, man, just it was great hanging out with everybody in the Hangover. Even some of you that didn't recognize us, we part of the Steel Curtain Network and part of the Steeler Nation, like all of you. Come join us on Wednesdays. We got the homie Shannon with us on Pump Your Brakes podcast. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
Let me give a quick shout out to Pump Your Brakes. To the Pump Your Brakes podcast Friday night on the Homies and Homies Overtime. Also do a show, Big G and myself and the homie Mod, called The Know-It-Alls. You can follow on Fans First Sports Network audio, on Know-It-Alls YouTube and CTN YouTube. But past that, Big G, was an honor filling in for Daniel J and Shannon. Had lots of fun kicking it too. I know you great jump off here and go do your college football level up podcast.
Absolutely.
And we got to do a cast podcast after you get done with that, man. You've been podcasting all day, bro.
That's what I do, man. Definitely for sure. When I leave out of here, I'll be on Fans First Sports Network Level Up podcast with my boy Andy P. We're going to talk specifically college football. So if y'all swing over to Fans First Sports Network, me and Andy get into a great conversation concerning college football. And don't forget to check me and Tate Boy Fresh out on the Homies podcast and the Homies Overtime on Fridays with Payday and B-Dirt, because, man, we like it when we're in safe places where we can just talk about the Steelers. But, man, a lot of times on them Fridays, we got to deal with the shenanigans, bro. So, yeah. So, thanks again for listening.
You got Afton coming over, man. She support everything.
Oh, yeah,
Big props, Afton. You are everywhere.
Absolutely. All right, so thanks again for listening to us on Steel Curtain Network. Make sure you check all the podcasts that are played throughout the week on Steel Curtain Network, on Fans First Sports Network. And we'll check you guys on Wednesday on the Pump Your Brakes podcast. As for Big G and Tate Boy Fresh, we'll holla at you. Peace.